Bet. Okay.
Namaste, namaste, world. How's everybody doing? It's been a minute, but we are happy to be out here, outside in nature, in the garden area. We are on the east side, so this is beautiful to actually have it on the east side. So
Yes.
we have our guest here, and she's gonna kind of introduce herself and gonna explain to us what she has in her garden.
Okay. So I am Rue. We are in my home, in my backyard, and in my garden. I feel like it's kind of a mess this year, but I embrace however it looks at any given moment. Um, I have two raised beds, technically three, but one of them I want to reconstruct, and I'll talk a little bit more about the what I need to rebuild in a minute. But I got two raised beds, some beds that were constructed, or not necessarily constructed, but that were created out of some soil and compost I had delivered, and that was really my start in gardening. So that was 2021. We're in 2022 now, so this is like a new endeavor for me. But gardening was something that I was always around or was sort of inspired by, but it came back to me after having conversation with my grandma about it in recent years before she passed. But I grew up being in her home on the east side over on Manistee in the Jefferson Chalmers area. My great auntie lived up the street. Whenever we would come over as kids, she would tell us, "Don't go play in that backyard before you water those tomatoes."
Mm,
So
that's
that's
cool.
my memory of gardening. And I don't know, I think the pandemic inspired me to get into gardening. It started with me buying some plants, and I'm like, oh shit, I can take care of these plants. So I might as well start growing my own food too. So um,
You,
my first
oh,
year is when I got started with a little bit.
do you remember your first plant?
Like my house plant,
Yeah.
dang, let me see. A couple of them done died, so I gotta make sure. Let me see, what was my first plant? I don't even know. I feel like I know that was 2020. I was mad because it was my 30th birthday, and I was in a house. I remember my mom got me a plant for either my birthday or Mother's Day. That was a peace lily. I
Mm,
still have that one. That might have been one of my first plants. I don't know if it was my first plant, but definitely one of the first ones.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So you pretty much decided, okay, now I have plants. Now I want to see what I can do with the garden, and
Yeah.
now you're here.
Yeah, and it's still like shocking to me to grow as much as I do now. So back to the first raised bed that I started with, I was like, I don't know. I do like when I find inspiration from wherever. I don't even remember what actually inspired me to just be like, you know what, bet I'm gonna go back here and grow some food. But I did. I got some pieces of wood, a couple 2x4s that I had measured and cut at Home Depot that I did not do right because that wood is not treated and it's falling apart. But I was determined to create my own raised bed, and I did that. And I used that space in 2020 to grow some sun gold tomatoes and mint. Um, I think I planted some peas too, but they didn't do too well.
Mm.
But I at least had the tomatoes did really well, and the mint. It's a perennial, so it comes up every year. Um, but the reason I didn't grow anything over here this year is because the soil it's made up of a lot of clay. When they tore the garage down in my backyard, a lot of the clay was left back here. So I need to remediate the soil, which is why I didn't grow anything. But you can still see some of the mint. Grab a
Yeah,
piece.
because mint kind of grows
Yeah, it grows
wild.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, it smells really good. I
Do you
think
make
it's
tea with it?
spearmint. Yes.
That's dope.
I make a really good cocktail with gin. So I'm a gin drinker.
Okay.
Um, I like to muddle. I like to muddle mint and lime. What else do I put in there? I muddle the mint and lime, um, and depending on what juice or whatever I have, I use this really good raspberry lemonade once,
Mm.
um, or something else. But I add some sort of juice or something. Oh, and a grapefruit bitter. Then I add the gin, and it's really good. It's like I call it my summer refresher.
That sounds good.
And I use the mint for my garden.
Okay. So that's the next podcast.
Okay. Yeah, let's get into some drinks.
For real, because that's just what it is. You know, it's like
Yeah.
sharing your art, sharing your creative world. And I
Definitely.
know that we got something here in front of us.
Oh
So you
yeah.
just picked this out. This is fresh.
Yes, I just pulled that today, and I'm really happy about my watermelon because last year was my first time trying to grow watermelon, but the lagoons, the squirrels, they got me. They took that and my cantaloupe. Like I came out here one day and it was just like bite marks in the melon. Like they didn't even get big. They were like tiny, probably like this
Yeah.
big. But this year I had really like I have a nice patch over there. But I think because of maybe the marigold or the tomatoes, that may have worked as a repellent because of the smell.
Really?
Yeah, marigolds are really good repellents. I can't remember for which bugs or animals exactly, but because of the smell, it has a really strong, distinct smell. And they say it's good to keep that planted in your garden to keep any pests away.
Nice.
So that and the tomatoes really have a distinct smell too. So,
I really had no idea.
yep.
Because I see tomatoes everywhere.
Mhm.
Not like just in your garden, but just like is it easy plant to maintain?
They're easy to grow. Easy to maintain depends on how much time you have, because it's a job. Like you gotta prune the leaves. You gotta make sure like if it gets because they grow really fast. So you gotta like maintain it. They're vine plants. So the maintenance really depends on like how much time and energy you have, and I don't be having much, which is why mine look a mess.
Nah, it's not
So.
bad. Look, mine would have been not even close to yours. Yours looks nice.
Thank you.
And I remember I came here. It was raining. It was beautiful that day. It was nice. You got a good setup. Cause
Thank you.
it's grown since I've been here.
Yeah, so I switched it around this year. I kind of rearranged where I grew stuff, so it looks a lot different. But I mean, I had some success this year, but I feel like I did better last year in terms of like the stuff that I grew. Like my peppers, they're just starting to sprout. I don't know if I'm just impatient or what, but by now I would have had a lot of jalapenos and bell peppers. But they're slowly coming up. I didn't grow any like beefsteak tomatoes or like the round ones. So I'm sad about that because I didn't get to make any like sauces. Um, my cucumber, they're over there struggling because my dogs kind of trampled over it. So I didn't put them in the same spot this year. But I mean, I got some stuff that's still sprouting. So that's been cool. So, it's trial and error.
It looks nice. We gotta taste this. So
Yeah, let's get into this watermelon.
because I want to see how good you did this year.
Let's
This
see.
this is where we can see your success.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. It's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Want some?
I
There you
feel like
go.
it could have been sweeter.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
your
don't
first
know.
one.
Yeah.
I feel like the next one.
And this is a sugar baby watermelon, so it's not as big as like the ones you get in the store. They're like they grow to about the size of a basketball. Yeah.
You know, is there a specific place you want the seeds? You want to keep them?
I'm gonna throw them in the garden.
Okay. I don't know how. So if you see some next year, I did it.
All right. Get it. That would actually be a really good spot for a watermelon patch.
Because of the shade?
I gotta look more into that. I don't know if they're good with shade. And that's another thing. I feel like I kind of learned trial and error, like what works as far as what needs sun, what needs shade, what goes good together, like what can you grow things together with. Yeah, I've just been learning about trial and error and asking other gardeners I know. So that's been cool. And for that reason, though, I try to encourage other people to just get into it. Because I hear from a lot of my friends, like, well, how do you do all of that? And I'm just like, you just start. Like, if it don't grow, then, you just try again next season. It's not it doesn't have to be perfect.
But I think that's how you get closer to the process, closer to your plant, closer to your garden.
Yep.
Because you can tell. Like I remember, in Honduras, my dad has a farm, so we would always go He's like, all right, go ahead and water it. And then I would water it. I'm thinking it's just normal, just regular water. He's like, no, you got to do it this way. It's like a method, but he knows. He's been doing it. It's like, you know, trial and error of me learning how much to put and all of that. So it just, once you know your land, then it comes out easy. You know?
Yep.
So I think by your third year, you'll be good. You'll be having
I hope so.
having some boxes ready for people to come pick up.
Yeah, you know, that would be dope. And I did sell a little bit of my stuff at it wasn't a farmer's market, it was an event at Feed 'em Freedom Growers. They were a part of Allied Media Conference, and they did a film screening for Regeneration. It was a film that they did with a couple other farms in the city. So it featured D-Town Farms, Ohana Gardens, and I think there may have been another one. But it was just showing how folks are getting activated with the land and how they get children involved. And it was a cute little event at their community hub house. You had vendors. I was there as a part of Feed 'em Freedom. I brought my produce out. You know, people bought it. That felt good to me. Like, dang, I grew that, and people are like buying it and going to eat it and cook with it. So,
Have people sent photos like the after, like, look, this is what I made with your food. You should.
Nope. But I mean, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be dope, right? Be like, I was in that process. So that's cool. So I know we also want to touch base on gardening being a revolutionary act. So how does that? Because you are dealing with communities around mostly East Side, right?
Yeah, I be all over, but most of my stuff is on the East Side, just cause.
I just think that's so cool because East Side doesn't get. I feel like
Yeah.
it's kind of, you know, looked at not in a good light. There's so much stuff going on in the East Side.
It is, and to that point though, because it seems like resources are more scarce on the East Side. I appreciate the revolutionary and visionary things that are happening over here, because it shows that, okay, maybe we don't receive many resources, but we know how to take what we have and do something else with it. So when I think about food and growing food as a revolutionary act, you just think of like, and this is a citywide thing, but just like the scarcity of food here, the scarcity of quality food. Like, there's a grocery store up the street from me that for years has been selling bad meat. Like, the meat looks terrible. So I'm sure the produce is no better. And I think of seeing that and it being important to grow our own food, because once you grow your own food and you taste the difference, like, you be judging it. Like, you'll go to the grocery store like, that don't look like, I know that that's not how that's supposed to look now. So, you know, it's just bringing that awareness to people, and it just brings power. Like I said, like, you're growing your own food and you see that. Like, that's, I juxtapose gardening to motherhood. Like, you're nurturing, it's land, but, you know, you're taking these seeds just like, you know, you would with the child. It starts as a seed and you watch it grow. You watch it go through its life process, and I don't know, it's something beautiful about that. I think of the act of learning patience in that, especially as we think about capitalism and how capitalism forces on you to, like, work at a sense of urgency. Gardening kind of teaches you how to just trust processes and patience and just embracing the sounds, like just listening to the noises out here. And, you know, you kind of learn how to work alongside the bugs. I feel like it gives you a different appreciation for just life as a whole outside of just being human. So I find that to be really revolutionary.
What do you think that, like, do you think that this revolution needs to be from, like, the elders, or needs to be more focused on the younger people coming after us, or it's just just everyone actually just needs to understand what's happening, one with the either food shortages or things being natural?
I don't think it's really about a specific generation, because I think that's definitely an intergenerational thing. Like, Feed 'em Freedom was the first farm that I got involved with, which was coincidentally on the same street that my grandma's house was on. My great auntie So when I first got involved with them, it was in 2020. I'm like, wait a minute, I grew up on this street. And their volunteer days are really cool because you get to, it can be some storytelling there. You're hearing stories.
Was that at the poetry spot? Like, we?
Yeah, that was at their culture
Oh,
hub. So
okay.
up the street,
Yeah.
closer to Jefferson, is where their farm was.
Okay.
And even just thinking back to like being in my grandma's backyard, you get those stories from the older generations, and some of them may have been involved in some movement work here in the city or wherever, or maybe tell you a story about how they migrated from the deep south to come here for labor or whatever else. So you get those stories, and then as younger folks, we can bring our experience into it. So I think that sort of intergenerational growth is a part of revolutionary acts, but not necessarily dependent on one generation. Like, I think tying all of the generations together are important. Even, working with my son Tupac and having him in the garden and using garden as a teaching experience, and just seeing how he interacts with things and how he interprets like what this plant is. Like when he was younger, I would have to tell him like, you step, like that's food you're stepping on, even though it just looks like a leaf, right? But now he's at the point where he's just like, oh, I'm sorry, plant, excuse me,
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it's, I think the storytelling aspect of it, when you think of the intergenerational, what you ask about like which generation, I think the fact that we all got stories to tell is why it's important for it to have equal importance across all generations.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice. I just feel like, when we talk about revolution, we talk about this huge movement, but it's like, no, you gotta, the movement's inside, or the movement's like at your house, that's where you're starting. And then, like you said, I think it's a good thing to understand that gardening is kind of like motherhood. You're babying something, you're creating something, and you're putting stuff back into your body, into your who you are, and then that's helping you out in the future.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see that, Tupac is into it, and to see that we're having the younger generation, our generation and younger, being really into it, saying, hey, why don't we grow our own foods?
Yes.
That's a good idea.
It's so fun. Like, how cool is this to, like, you thinking about what you want to cook for dinner, and you're like, oh, yeah, I got some stuff in the backyard I can
Be
just,
right back.
pull in. Like, that is such a refreshing feeling to me. I think that's one of the best things I love about it. I can just go back there and pull a piece of a plant and,
Well, my favorite one was, we have a lemon in Honduras.
uh-huh.
We have a lemon tree.
Oh, dope.
And so, if I was sick, or if I was like, I just want some lemonade.
I would love
just
a
go
lemon
out there.
tree.
Yeah, just go out there, pick the best one that you want, and then
Oh,
just
man.
cut it up, and then just make it, and you're all set. You're done.
That sounds lovely.
I know, it was beautiful. So when I look at that, and I look at my years in Honduras, I say, man, like, this is beautiful. And then I start seeing gardens pop up, and then I start having friends who actually popping up with their gardens. I'm saying, this is dope. This is amazing to actually see it in play in my own. Because I grew, like, I was maybe like a couple blocks away from you in high school, and this area, like, you don't think about gardening. You just don't. And it's just cool to see that. Cool to see it being put in places that people need it. And like
Yeah.
where I live now, there's, like you said, the supermarket. They don't have the best foods there, but it's the closest one.
Exactly.
And then where's the next one? You got to go
If you
30
don't have a
minutes
car.
just to, yeah. How are you gonna get food? Liquor store. But,
Yeah.
it's just kind of hard to have that. So it's just so cool to see this revolutionary act be so normalized, and then be so natural.
Absolutely.
Literally, physically.
And to think about what you just said, I'm thinking about, I was at Feed and Freedom again at an event they had last week, and adding to the revolutionary act of it, like a senior pulled up. I think her daughter or something maybe drove her, but she pulled up, and I guess they had a relationship. So Mama Myrtle, who runs the farm, she asked her like, okay, what you looking for today? So she just came to pick some food, So it also like,
Oh, so she the elder came out and kind of picked out what she wanted. Nice.
yep. So it teaches us in thinking about the Revolutionary Act, it teaches us how to like better care for our neighbor or the people around us, and how to resource share rather than having a scarcity mindset.
So, talking about community, so I went to go pick up some food for us that we're gonna eat.
Ooh.
And so this is yours. This
Oh,
is a gift to
lovely.
you from another person. So it's Mama's Kitchen, and that's the food that we're gonna eat.
Okay.
So we're not gonna eat this though. But this is like some kale, some stuff that you might know
Uh-huh.
that she grew and that she has. So something that you
Yes.
can make. Got some lemongrass for your teas.
Oh, yes, lemongrass. I want to
Yeah.
get into growing herbs next.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
So talking about community, when I went over to her house, I told her I picked up the food, and then she's like, "What are you guys
Oh,
gonna?"
you can smell it.
Yeah, what are you guys gonna do? I was like, "Oh, we're gonna do a podcast." She's like, "About what?" I said, "Gardening," and I said, "Yeah, so we're gonna do a podcast about gardening. We're gonna talk to her about her story and everything." She's like, "Oh, do you want some vegetables, or does she already have some?" I was
Love
like,
it.
"I'll take it." She was like, "Okay, give me a minute." She went to her garden,
See?
picked out the stuff, and was like, "Here you go. Tell her about this. Tell her about that."
Love it.
So
and
yeah.
that's what it's all about.
So it was just all community, It's just and she's it's in Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
So one on top of that, the culture that, but also like gardening culture is very giving.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
oh yeah, wait, forget, hold on, here's
Yeah.
some more stuff. So this is yours. You can kind of take a look. This
Thank
is something that you can
you.
plant too. But
What is this, a turnip?
that's a something potato, white potato. Or
Oh.
is that?
Okay, so I ain't never seen one of these. White potato.
I'm learning too, so I don't quote me.
Okay.
No-
Ooh, I
no
grew
gardeners
potatoes
come
this
in.
year for the first time. I got some. I don't know when I'm supposed to pull them, but I know because it got a lot of leaves on there that it's actually potatoes growing under there. That's all
Okay.
I know.
That's how you know. Okay, watch this. So she said this is like tomato. So go ahead, peel it and bite it. Eat it. Don't bite it. Eat it.
It look a little weird.
I know it does.
Oh, it's sweet.
I know.
Mmm,
Good, isn't it?
it is. I was a little scared at first.
Yeah, I know. We have something.
That was good.
It was really good. Isn't it?
Mm.
We have something similar like that in Honduras, but it's actually it's not a tomato. It's something different, but it's really soft, and when you bite it, it just kind of melts. It's so weird, but it has the same like shell, I guess you would call it. It's really dope. So look at that. That's hot. That's for you. Got some.
It's not a habanero. What kind of pepper is this?
I'm not
You
the
did
best.
say you. My bad. My
I'm
bad.
not the best.
You did say that.
Listen, I wish I could tell
Mess
you.
around and
I
bite
wish
it
I
to
could-
this and I be in the hospital.
I think it is. She said it's hot though. She
I'm
said
gonna
it's hot.
use it to make a salsa.
Well,
That's
shoot,
cool.
if you make a salsa, call me.
Okay.
I'll come try it.
All right.
So it's got some stuff, some more tomatoes, some potatoes. And she said, I was asking her, I want to grow potatoes. I've always tried to, in Honduras and here. But she said it's not that hard.
It's not.
Okay,
It's not.
you gotta teach me how to do
Really, once they start to sprout, like I use Keep Growing Detroit, which is a really great resource, which is where I got most of my seeds and plants from in my garden. This year they gave us tomatoes, and when I tell you, I'm like, this is like one of the tomatoes from my cabinet. Like, it's just, when it starts to sprout them little things on it, you just put it in the ground.
that. Oh,
That's
okay.
it. And then you just water it, and then we can check them out in my garden, but it sprouts leaves. And I guess after a certain point, I actually have to look into when you actually harvest it, but you just pull it out the ground and you'll have like a stem of potatoes. That's
Nice.
it.
Okay. Yeah, you make it sound easy. I'm gonna try it. But
It's really easy.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see what happens.
Oh yeah, I can use this stuff to make like a salsa
Mhm.
or guacamole. All I need is an avocado. I see some sun golds. I really like these. Oh, this is a different type.
She said those. It's the I guess the bigger.
Is this a It's not a tomatillo, is it?
No,
Let me see.
you teaching me. I don't know.
My bad.
You teach me.
I am so
you
grateful
let me
for
know.
this.
Yeah. So then, yeah, you can make whatever you want. And then she said these are good for sauces too. That's what she told me. So
Yes.
there you go. That's yours. Since
So
we're talking about
exciting.
community and giving back, I was like, I could
Yes.
take it home. But no, this is yours. You can do something with it better than I can.
Well, I have carrots that I harvested,
Okay.
and I bundled them up all cute because I planned on giving them away. So if you want carrots,
Okay, we can do
I will
that.
gladly give you
We'll
some.
we'll switch.
They're really good too.
We'll do a trade.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone else the other day. He was like, you know, people for my services. He was like, yeah, well, I'll do a trade. I was like, okay, I
Yes.
like trades. I
I'm
like
here for
trades.
bartering.
Yeah.
No.
All right, cool. So you have to tell me what this is when you find out.
Yeah. Have to do some experimentation.
All right. We call it cascara. Am I good to throw it over?
Mhm.
Okay.
So what does
Make it
that
some-
mean?
Cascara is like the skin, like the outer.
Oh,
skin,
okay. So
cascara.
the rind.
Yeah, rind.
You know, I think I should start a compost thing over here.
Yes.
That random stick, that was actually an elderberry.
Uh-huh.
But as you can see, it didn't do too well. I wonder what that bug is on there. I don't know. It looks kind of weird though. I don't know. But yeah, that might be because I do want to start some composting, so I can start making my own dirt.
Oh, that'd be
That's when
dope.
I really feel like I'm doing
Because
something.
that's gonna help you with the clay. Cause
Oh, yeah.
that clay. Same thing. I think my mom has something like that. It was just hard to like scoop or hard to get anything out.
Yeah.
Everything's so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we got some tortillas. You know tortillas, right? So it's kind of like
Oh,
make
yeah.
your own taco. So we got vegan option. We got vegan options. We got some potatoes.
Looks good.
Yeah. She loves us so much. We got steak and chicken.
Okay, I'm gonna need to get her location.
Yeah, no, she's dope.
This looks really good.
She's dope. We're supporting local vendors.
Yes, I love
she's in
learning
Southwest.
about new places, especially food places.
Look at that.
Oh,
That smells good.
oh, I grew some cilantro. I didn't put any more seeds down, but that's another one I love to grow.
Cilantro?
Mhm.
Yeah, Yesenia, when Yesenia gets here, oh, you gonna be good with her. And some salad.
Oh, I thought that was guac. I was about to say, dang,
Oh, that
that's a
would've
lot of
been
guac. And I'm guessing a lot of these things are things that she's grown on her.
Oh,
Oh,
look.
that looks really good.
That's nice.
Oh, I'm excited.
That'll be all you guys. All right. So, yeah, she hooked us up. Oh, look at that.
Oh, some guac. Or that might be salsa verde. I don't know.
I think it's also very there.
Yeah.
This is dope. A nice setup.
This is exciting.
All
I'm
right.
always here for tacos.
For real, right? I told a friend of mine. That's
Oh, thank
yours.
you.
Told a friend of mine that the way I decide if it's taco day if I'm close to Southwest. That's like that's my.
where you
If
gotta
I'm close
go.
to Southwest, taco day. That's how I do it. All right, so so we're just gonna make our own tacos.
Okay.
I'll have everything open, so you just pick and choose what you want.
Yummy.
Grab. Let's see.
I love how you add this portion to your show, like getting food from a local place, talk about their establishment. I think that's dope.
I mean, cause even in the creative world, it's all. Look at that. That's fresh.
Oh yeah, those are.
Go ahead. Yep. Go ahead. This is your world. Grab whatever you want.
I know that's right, dude.
So, I mean, because even in the creative world, in the gardening world, creative world, we're all working together for the same thing, but we're also a community because we know how hard it is, or we know how difficult it can be to just kind of get started and to do your thing and to eventually have something that people can come to or people can look at and people can experience. So, you know, it takes a minute to get to this point.
It does.
So,
But thinking about gardening again, that patience and growing through the process
yeah.
is what makes it rewarding.
Yeah, so you know, in me creating this podcast and in me creating just other avenues for people to be a part of course, I'm gonna try to be a community member and try to go ahead and share that with everybody and share any opportunity I can with other people. And it's
Love
cool
it.
because me and you went to high school together because we could talk
I
about that. We could talk about
know.
like, you know, the fact that like that's community, right? When we went to high school together, we kind of, obviously college happens, life happens, and we just go our separate ways. And then, you know, eventually we do our thing and then we come together and it's like, yeah, we're both doing, go ahead. That's a vegan option.
Is that jackfruit? I think I saw that on the cover.
I believe so.
I've been wanting to try jackfruit, so I'm gonna try some. But yeah, it's crazy how you link back up with people in life.
Hmm. So I said, why wouldn't I create something for community wise and try to help people out as well? You know, try to like give back to them because I know, like I said, it's hard to, like you said, people ask you, how do you get started? You just start.
Mhm.
The same thing with creatives. How do you get, how do you do what you're doing? You just start, and then
Just do it.
we're creating these platforms for people to be a part of it and to actually uh, be part of the community, be part of a revolutionary act, but also just be able to be themselves
Mhm.
in those areas, you know?
Yes.
So I appreciate you appreciating this segment.
Always.
Hey, so dope.
I appreciate all of it. I swear, you know some of everybody. Like every time I see you, I be like, you just be all your connections, and I think that's also really cool. And thinking about community in that way too, and how you kind of create interconnectedness from that.
Hmm. Well, I always thought to myself, like, if I want to do anything giving back to the community, or because obviously a lot of people gave back to me in my life, you know. So because people gave back to me in my life, then it's only right for me to do it, give back to them. And yeah, I've been blessed to have met so many people. Met you, like even back then we didn't know what we wanted, and then now we're here and we're like, look, this is what we're doing. And for me, it's a blessing to meet people. How is it?
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
I
To,
love potatoes, so.
I know, me too. So it's really cool to meet all these people that that have so much of their own history, you know.
Mhm.
And then we talked about it. We went to a deeper conversation too about history and family and who we knew each other, how we knew of each other and things that we can tap into. 'Cause we, moment, manifesting and
Mhm.
creating your history, your story, your life, and saying, this is what I want. This is my purpose. This is what I want to be a part of.
Mhm.
And then being able to say, what do I see in 5 years? Let me make it happen,
Mhm.
right? Because we got deep into that conversation too.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So it's cool to meet people like you, for real,
Oh, thank you.
and to continue to be friends.
Yes.
10 years later, so many years later, and still be like, yeah, we
Yes.
cool.
Deep in the gang.
Yeah, you see the Aztec memes, the stairs, how they got stuck in the stairs.
Oh, I did see that.
So things we can laugh at together.
Them kids, they don't know.
How you not know?
Y'all
You
don't.
putting sauce?
That ain't nothing compared to the old building now. Come on.
Man, the old building.
Going up to
We
the
were
7th floor.
5 minutes, 3 minutes.
5 minutes, really? Like, and then y'all want to do hall suites
Man.
and don't want to give me an elevator pass?
Oh, that's the worst. I don't know how I got an elevator pass for like a week, but I was like, I'm gonna use it. Yeah, good times.
Yeah, I
good
would too.
times. But this is beautiful. You have a beautiful garden. Your son is amazing. He's cool.
You.
He's funny.
Yeah, he's something else.
I think that's what parents say all the time. To something else.
He is. He.
Take a couple bites, see what it's like.
Mhm.
Ready?
Oh, I done already dived into it. My bad.
No, go ahead. That's all good. Thank you. Thank you, Mama's Kitchen. That's the name too, Mama's Kitchen. Like community.
I love it.
Amazing.
Shout out to her for the produce and these really delicious tacos.
Yeah.
I know where I'll be going now. Thank you for hosting today and even, I don't know, having me sharing this energy and this conversation. I'm happy to be a part of your project and any work that you do.
I'm gonna respond in a minute. This is good.
I feel you.
So, I know we talked about my project, but I know you do journalism.
Mhm.
Talk more about that and talk about anything else that you're working on.
So it's funny you say that because as you were saying the importance of how we as artists or people with these ideas who just need the influence to just start,
Hmm.
um, I kind of tie that into my writing. So I do journalism. I started doing that last year, and it started from me writing a newsletter
Mm,
for a collective that I organized with called Eastside Solutionaries Collective.
cool.
And it's grassroots journalism, and we talk about things that are happening on a ground level in the neighborhoods that are visionary and, going back to, not being provided resources in our neighborhoods and what are we doing about it. Um, and from there, I went into doing journalism for a local environmental um, publication called Planet Detroit. But I also like to do workshops here and there to influence other people to, own their voice and know that all you gotta do is just start it. So maybe, I mean, we all have the ability to be writers, but how do you use writing to find your voice, whatever that manifests as, whether it's gonna be an artist or whatever it is that you feel you wanna do. Um, but a lot of times I reference a question that Bell Hooks posed in a talk that she gave that's on YouTube called Moving from Pain to Power. And
Mm.
she simply asked, like, how do we decolonize our imaginations? So,
Oh, that's a.
hmm and that really hit for me because, growing up, I wasn't like, I was a really shy kid. A lot of the things that I do now, I feel like my younger self is proud of because I don't know, I wasn't encouraged to do a lot of the things that I wanted to do freely. So, I think about that a lot, and I try to influence other people to do that through writing workshops, just through dialogue and posing certain questions. So yeah, it's kind of like I use facilitation and creative writing to really bring things out of people that they may, I'm sure they've seen before, but they get to bring more attention to and really hone in on that. So I love doing that.
And I think you got to give yourself credit. I think self credit. You do amazing work.
Thank you.
You've been interviewed. You've been on the radio. You've been you. I've seen your work different places. I've seen your work like bookstores and stuff like that. When I see people's newsletters or people's things, that's amazing. So
Thank you.
congrats on that. That's amazing. That's beautiful work. Your poetry you shared with me the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. I was like, okay, you can write. Like, I mean, I know you can write, but like to be able to present it in a poem and what you were trying to say, that was amazing.
Yeah, honestly, I had no idea, but it's something that I guess I really didn't realize it was a thing that I had talent for until like I would go back and reread myself, like, dang, I really be writing, okay. So that does feel good, and it's nice for other people to see that, but it's another thing when you like own and accept that that's a part of yourself and that you're good at that because it took time for me to do that. So it's nice to get those compliments, but it's another thing to accept that within yourself. So,
Yeah, and I mean, it's amazing because let's see, we went to high school together, but I've
hmm
been traveling, I've been moving, and last year I think we got reconnected, and we had a really good deep conversation, and then now just seeing you, a couple months, the garden has grown. You're about to launch these projects that are coming up. I mean, I think that's just amazing,
hmm
everything that you're doing. So I'm gonna still keep giving you props, and like I said, I keep seeing your name pop up more and more on these articles, and
mm,
that's what's up. So
thank
keep
you.
it up. I'm excited. I'm proud of you too. If you're
Thank
proud of
you.
yourself, I'm proud of you for everything you've done. So I want to go ahead and I'm gonna grab my book. In my book, we got a couple
Mm,
prompts.
hmm
So we're just gonna do one of those
Okay.
prompts to kind of end it off. That's
All
cool.
right. I'm here for it.
Yeah. So Mana Moment was was made to kind of promote life and Mana, the energy within.
hmm
So what we're gonna do here is we got a book and you can kind of go look through it. And it's got a couple prompts. So the ones that are actual things that you can write in,
hmm
we can go ahead and look at it and think about something that to fill in that space with your words.
Okay, let's see. I love your books. You have
Thank
your creative direction.
Thank you.
It's really nice.
I appreciate it. Like yeah, like
Hmm.
you said, when you talked about this earlier, how you weren't really empowered to do different things that you wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt okay. No one's gonna help. No one's gonna give me that. I'm gonna do it myself, and so
Period.
I got into creative work and being expressive, and I'm grateful that I can still do it, even if people are like, no, whatever, it sucks, it won't do well.
Mm.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Exactly. That's all that matters. Y'all ain't gotta
Exactly.
like it. You not me.
Yeah.
Mind your business. That's the
Right.
problem. We be too into other people's business.
Exactly.
Um. Hmm. Okay. I think I'm gonna do this one.
Okay. All right. So it says, manifest your dreams. Write down the life you envision having. But we won't do it on paper. We'll just kind of
Okay.
speak it into existence
Period.
now, right? And I think we talked deep about that last time, speaking things into existence.
Yeah,
'Cause I think you had something come up,
Uh-huh.
and it came into fruition. It just happened, and you were like, I can't believe it. It's like, yes,
Yeah.
that's how you gotta continue.
And it's funny. I was just talking to one of my friends about that yesterday, speaking things into existence. And this was related to another one of my projects. I'm working on a cannabis business where I will be opening a consumption lounge where I plan to have your coffee, one of your other
Hey,
endeavors.
okay.
So, have the coffee shop portion of it, it's a co working space, and then tie in what I do with my writing and organizing. So, using that as a space to, like, because, we got a lot of people in the city who they have like this negative connotation about weed. So, just using it as a space to, like, demystify any stigmas around marijuana, but also using that space for other critical conversations that we need to have in our Black communities. So, I want to have books in there, plants, really intentional about all of the things that are in the space, have some vendors who are in the Reiki and
I know we're
metaphysical
talking about
things.
crystals too. We talked
Yeah.
about that.
So, yeah, we were talking about that yesterday, and we actually found a building that was near Southwest Detroit on Michigan.
Okay.
And she was just like, yeah, you got to speak it into existence, because I was telling her, like, I don't have the money for this yet. So, yeah, going back to speaking things into existence, I love how that always comes back around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so let's do it. So it says write down the life you envision having. So let's go ahead and speak into existence what you envision having either this year or whenever. You can decide your timeline.
So many things. So
Yes.
I'm gonna think on a broader scale, but also short term. So I envision having a life where I successfully run this consumption lounge that'll eventually grow into having a micro business side of it, which is the retail cannabis side that operates as a cooperative business, which means that folks who oftentimes consume cannabis, who are Black and other people of color who don't have access to this really restricted industry, or was affected by the war on drugs, they'll be able to buy in and to have a piece of the profit. But broader scale, just thinking about communal living in more than just that one way. So what does it look like to have a community of folks where we create our own ecosystems of care? So I bring that, I put that out into the atmosphere. So, whether it's growing our own food and sharing resources, I think of care with our kids, like how are we, teaching them and sharing resources that way. I think of the seniors in our community and people with disabilities who need support who often don't receive it. So yeah, thinking of creating ecosystems of care on that broader scale within my own network, and just pods of that happening around the city to further build power, so then we can eventually stop depending on our very shitty city government. And yeah, that's what that's what I got.
That's what's up. Okay, we're gonna manifest that. So it's out in the universe. So we hope to see those news coming up soon. Let's see. For me, I would manifest or envision my life to be like, is that this well, first, thank you for being a part of the podcast, and I say that because I want this podcast to continue to grow and to continue to be as organic as possible. And I think it's amazing to have guests like you and have people that believe in the idea of community, the idea of giving back, and you have a good heart, and it's just cool to see that from you. But it's good to be a part of that experience as well while we're doing these kind of Manifest podcast episodes, Manifest podcast episodes as well. And it's just beautiful to continue to see it growing, even when sometimes you either take a break or you're like, oh, well, not right now. And then you hit me up and I was like, oh, let's do it. Okay, I'm ready. So it was cool to
I feel like it took us months later, but it's okay. We here now.
We did it. That's all that matters. We tried the watermelon. It was great, so we're good. So no, it was cool to continue on. So I envision this podcast being a lot bigger, and this episode just helping us get out there and be a fire episode. I loved it. So just continue growing with the podcast, and definitely have a coffee shop by next year. So those are my two big things that I really see myself having next year. So I'm excited. This is great. This is wonderful. Let's plug your info. Where can they find you?
Dang, my bad, y'all. Okay, so
That's all good.
you can find me on Instagram, 2_MZ.RU. So that's Ms. Ru with a Z. You can follow Bud Club 313 on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter at Rukiya, RUKIYA_C. I believe that's what it is, at least. Yeah, that's where I am. Or just find me around the city. I be everywhere. So yeah, if you see me, say hi.
Yep. So thank you for being part of our guest, and actually welcoming us into your home, your garden, this your space. We appreciate it. It's nice and homey, and I appreciate you, and hope we can continue to work together and do some other projects.
Yes, for sure. I appreciate you as well. I'm happy we have continued to be friends throughout all of these years.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get better. All right, talk to you guys later. You guys enjoy. Have a good rest of the day, and peace.
So this is eggplant. So you got the flowers here, and they should be coming up soon. And I got a nice little bunch this year. Last year I grew some over there, but I only got a couple out of it. So I'm excited for this so I can make some eggplant parmesan. Got some tomatoes here, got a couple of them. They still working their way through growing. We got some cabbage. I don't know how well it's gonna do this year because something has been chewing on the leaves, but I've just been leaving it there. That's been there since maybe April. But yep, that's cabbage. This, I wanna say, is squash. It's either squash or zucchini. I can't remember. They kind of grow the same. Got the flowers on it, like the eggplant. But that's all I have over here. Over here, we have some basil. I like to use this to make sauces or put it on pizza. I got some scallions here. Yeah, scallions. And I love just how basil smells. So, and then fennel. This is my first year growing these, but I got some fennel there. That is another herb called tarragon. I haven't used it yet, but apparently it's good in eggs. Got some Roma tomatoes there. And I'm gonna come around this way. My peppers are coming through. So these are bell peppers.
Bell peppers?
Yeah, bell peppers. And there are some jalapenos, I believe, that are supposed to be growing here. Oh, yep, here's one coming through. You can see it. Oh, there's a couple. Yep, so they starting to come through. But yep, that's those. And those are my 2 raised beds. And over here is the chaos created by tomatoes. So there's some black cherry tomatoes, which are really good in watermelon salads. And then I have a watermelon patch here. This is my largest watermelon. It's not ready to be picked yet, but I'm excited for cutting that one. Have some zinnias here that were planted. They're good for attracting butterflies and pollinators, so I get a lot of bees. And I like to, they grow rapidly, so I like to cut them and make bouquets out of them and then just sprout back up. And marigolds, they keep the rodents and the pests out of my garden. There are some okra that are hiding on the side of the marigolds that are starting to come up. But they haven't sprouted quite yet, but I have some okra there. Swiss chard has been taking me through the season. I love to make salads with those, but they're good for also cooking, like sauteing them like greens. Got some kale there. Something ate my collard greens. And that little bunch over there that looks like it's wilted are my potatoes. My dog trampled over them though. That's what it looks like. But yeah, that's that area. And that's everything. I got more tomatoes here, my sun golds. Those are really good to snack on. You want one? You gonna eat it? Yeah, they're good to snack on. And my son even has a little tomato patch outside of his playhouse. So more tomatoes. Yep. And that's all we got.